Now let's open the floor for the discussion. So please, the floor is yours. Okay. Yes.
I would ask on the kind of democracy. There were discussed the direct democracy and parliamentary democracy, but there is another third kind, the participatory democracy. And my question would be how much was the movement inspired by this kind of democracy?
We can make like three questions
Okay.
answer.
So Mr. Prakash.
Thank you for your introduction. I would like also to thank you. And in order to clarify some of your ideas, I would ask you, because you spoke inter alia about high degree of autonomous status of each unit, so to say, of region or location. So my question, or I'm interested in future, I would say, structure of your movement on one side. On other side, if you are programmatically heading to some kind of common ideas or common denominator of this movement. Because until now it's a bit, we know this 16 points, your so-called 16 points. So if it is some programmatic ground for next heading of your movement, or if you will be diversifying in this, or how will be debate. So on one side organizational structure, on one side some programmatic base. So, thank you.
I have to confess that I don't understand everything concerning the movement. First, am I right saying that the movement is formed by people who are not satisfied with the present setup? Those are the foundations. Is it so? All right. In comparison to what we have in Czech Republic, this movement, according to me, is more, I would say, effective, because this movement is not concentrated only in big cities, but has, I would call it, local branches. Up to now, ProArt, which is also a national movement, we can say, is concentrated mainly in Prague, and then to ask for alternatives to what the people are not satisfied is practically restricted to the center, and there are local problems with which the people are not satisfied. So I like more your structure, if I may call it so, than the structure of ProArt.
Could you repeat the last question?
It seems to me that because you said we have autonomous, let us call them branches of the movement, in different regions, in different towns. And this is different from what we have here, because ProArt, which is one of the, you can say, main initiatives, is concentrated in the capital up to now.
So it's not a question, it's rather a comparison of your movement and the program. So please.
And also I think I would like to know what is the program. You criticize, but what would you like to have instead of those aspects you are criticizing?
You mentioned that in the cities, the groups of the movement are independent and autonomous. But nevertheless, does exist any link between them? Does exist any common sense that there is a need to have some speaker to profile a leader of the movement? because the movement has a very experienced and strong adversary, if not speaking with him about enemy. With that enemy, you have to have strong voice. Or I am not to be to give advices. Thank you. To give advices, but nevertheless, I think if you are called to be a movement, then some structure or linkage between should be.
Thank you. So we will have another round of questions and comments later on. So please, the floor is yours to answer the questions.
Well, the point of all of this is the first. This is my point of view, and I cannot speak for all of the movement. And this was, for example, one of the points of the movement. No one leader, no one voice. So this is my way to see the things, but I cannot say we're going to do that or we're going to, because it's dependent. Which kind of democracy? Really, if the city have a really background of civil society, I think that the democracy that they want to have is one democracy really near to the democracy directly in each square. If the city is more with people who were never in a social movement or something more like in a social democratic point of view, they're going to have some kind of delegation or something. It depends. It depends of the city. Somebody asked me which structure have the movement was this man. Okay, the movement is a mass of people. Right in this moment, they are trying to make some structure, like in a net structure. But anyway, I have to say that all organizations are using their structure as somehow to coordinate this movement. In the case of, I'm from Andalusia, from the south. Our region is quite big, maybe with the size of Czech Republic. So we try to coordinate each medium and big city. So we have some kind of platform in which we can talk. Other organizations like the Young Communist Juventudes Comunistas, Young Communist, they promote 2 years ago one more or less big platform in which each base trade union of student trade union can speak and can coordinate the movement. In the case of the assemblies, each year we have some like general assembly in which we go as a people of one social movement of each city, and we try to coordinate us. So we have not a really structure, but we are. I know something of Barcelona and Madrid and Sevilla. So if I'm living in Valencia, I'm going to speak with my friends, and they have also some contacts. So we are trying to do something maybe more formal, more structured. But anyway, this is not now the real point that we have in mind. Anyway, for the, if I'm not making a mistake, 19th of June, going to have one big assembly of the people of each different city to coordinate, to have some points in common. So for try to have at least some line or something that you cannot say you are doing this and exactly the opposite. Maybe this and this other thing that is different but not the opposite. Well, so now we are trying to do this structure. I put here something about the programmatic point, but I don't remember what.
Well, I guess the question of leader.
The leader.
You guess you bit mentioned it at the beginning, but it was your question concerning the leader of the movement.
Okay, the leader of the movement. I think that now you have no one leader. Anyway, this doesn't mean that in each assembly some people take more time and take more ideas and take more things to I don't know to promote, develop everything. These have some problems also, because in some way we are saying that we don't have leaders. In another way, we have leaders hidden. Somehow we have leaders, but it's not clearly. We are not saying, okay, you're going to be the leader. Anyway, this is a movement. This is not an organization. This is not a. This is not a party. You cannot say, okay, in one party you have a real good structure, completely clear, and you have the top. You have the medium, you have completely the base. You can go from the base to the top, or from the top to the base as you want. This is an organization. Okay, this is a movement. This is a mess. This is a real mess. So, what do you want to do that I explain you? Okay. No, it's not.
Perhaps is there some trend, like to
Trend?
Yeah, some progress towards some official speakers of the movement or something like this.
I cannot see. Wait. One of the question was what we criticize and which are our proposals. We criticize that we have not democracy. We vote once each 4 years, and the market decide for us. We have not. This is a theater completely. Maybe if this is the democracy, maybe we can change the fact of go to vote for do that at each 4 years, because finally they're going to do what they want. This is one point. The second point is the flat should be not something for take profit the companies. The flat one. Dignity flat should be for each people. The water, for example, now is starting to be privatized in Spain. The water is water for everybody. Is water. The food should have some good qualities, not only for make full your stomach, and with a lot of chemical products that maybe one apple that comes from another place of the world, and you are exploiting the workers of this or other part of the world. For example, this is we are against the privatization of the university, and also now are trying to make us two kind of schools. Could be more or less. This is quite big comparison, but. In United States, for example, you have the private schools, in which are really, really, really good, and then you have the public school that they have less money, the education is more difficult, and whatever. Okay, they are introducing this exactly in the case of Madrid. You have one elitist school, public, at this moment, but that going to receive more money, and the rest of the schools that don't going to receive less money from the state. For example, we are criticizing that, and we have quality in the education or in the sanity. for example, in the sanity now we have the problem that we are the nurses and the doctors and the manager of the hospital are working under the law of the market, not this one good for the society, for example. So it's like the way of see the patients, for example, or the workers. We are not. I cannot think that. I don't know, if I'm ill, I need only 1 second for visit the doctor because the manager of the hospital is going to less money.
Chceš něco dodat? Nebo? Aleš.
Okay.
No. Já si myslím, že i ta velká, jako ten velký rozdíl mezi proaltem a tím může být dán i tím, že přeci jenom i jako formačně ty země jsou naprosto jiný. A aspoň jako z mé zkušenosti třeba z italského hnutí vím, že prostě vždycky jako strašný problém mezi těma různýma ohniskami prostě protestů udělat určitou redukci jako komplexity jako v operativní a potom třeba i v rozhodující činnosti. Jo. A to je právě ta velká otevřená otázka vlastně jako nakolik se lze jenom spolehnout jako na tu přímou demokracii a na jaké straně prostě třeba udělat jako nějaký spíš jako otevřenější jako struktury prostě jako zastupitelského rozhodování. Jo. Jako, třeba nějakou takovou zkušenost jako federací svobodních generálních prostě těch schůzí, kde by samozřejmě jako ty jednotlivý prostě jako Assemblées Générale nebo Assemblée Générale měli prostě svoji suverenitu v rámci svého města, vlastně v rámci svého regionu, ale potom by prostě měli jako určitý jako společný prvky, já nevím, třeba právě vystupování jako navenek, jako v tom zahraničí. V nějakých prostě, jo, na základě vlastně nějakého prostě jako paktu, no, prostě aliance, fedus, že jo, jako federace je právě od toho jako latinského slova jako smlouva. Prostě vytvořit vzájemně, aby to právě bylo nějakým způsobem koordinovaný, prostě otevřenou rozhodující strukturu, že? I ten problém jako současné zastupitelské demokracie je to, že tam, kdybychom to řekli jako i s Bourdieuem, jako existuje nějaký pole a to je tak silně strukturovaný, že vlastně jako neumožňuje participaci alternativních politických subjektů. Jo, a v tom já třeba osobně vidím prostě ten zásadní problém té současné jako zastupitelské demokracie. A neděk vám může prostě znemožňovat mnoha způsobů. Tím, jako, že ty strany nemají možnost oslovit skrz média prostě jako veřejnost. Nemají peníze jako na vedení kampaně, nemají někde jsou prostě jako strašní jako požadavky třeba na sesbírání podpisů. Jo. A to jsou všechno takové i třeba i byť administrativní jako maličkosti, které ale struktury prostě to pole a jde o to vlastně vytvořit aspoň jako v některých úkonech, jo, jako byť jako třeba omezených. Nějaký pole, který by bylo taky nějak strukturovaný, ale který by bylo jako otevřený, kde by vlastně jako byla jako ta možnost rovnoměrně rovnou příležitost prostě na její participaci, jo, jako to má jako velice zajímavý koncepci právě jako Nancy Fraserová, že, která má právě tu koncepci jako participační rovnosti, kde opravdu nejde o to jenom prostě mít tu přímou demokracii, ale do určité míry i vytvořit jako omezené právě pole jako toho prostě jako zastupitelství, jo, že prostě jsou tam jako nějací zastupitelé, ale tady jsou to právě jako pod kontrolou a hlavně jako ty překážky prostě do toho pole jsou natolik malý, že vlastně znemožňují těm ostatním aktérům, kteří nejsou zrovna v tom momentu těmi zastupiteli, aby do něho mohli vstoupit. A to je prostě podle mě i velká teoretická praktická otázka proti naše jako současné hnutí. Jo. Hlavně když si jako máme tu třeba i perspektivu prostě mít jako tu mezinárodní a evropskou spolupráci, jo. Kde přece jenom ta komplexita je tak jako velká, jako, ať už je to jako zeměpisná, nebo co se týče třeba jako i nějakých jako konkrétních problémů těch různých jako regionů. že tam musí dojít prostě podle mýho názoru jako k nějaký redukci. Jo. A taky jak ji provést tak, aby právě byla jako otevřená.
Takže so the next round of questions. Pokud chcete otázku položit, můžete i v češtině, to není problém potom přeložit. So,
Aleš, now I have a long question, so probably in English. When I was watching on the Czech TV, one of the first reports, they introduced it like while the EU was expecting the Maghreb and Middle East revolutions to expand to China. China is now laughing because it got to Europe. And I think actually comparison with Egypt and North Africa is quite important. Not only that basically camps were modeled on the Tahrir Square of Cairo, but as well we could see what were actually the turning points of the revolutions in Tunisia and Egypt. And that was after weeks and weeks of occupations of these squares. It actually, like the protests ignited sparks of strikes and even more generalized when it came to Ben Ali actually was overthrown by a threat of a general strike. In Egypt there was a general strike. Until that, basically, there were just some annoying protests in the squares which like bothered someone, but it was nothing decisive. So my question would be like, what's the connection, or if there exists any links between people who actually can stop the economy, i.e. those working in factories, in public transport, and so on, and or if there is a discussion of the strategy of the movement, how can they build such links, and how can they put the movement forward? Because if it gets stuck only in occupations of important squares, then it will probably finish quite soon.
thank you. Some other questions? Okay, so two of you.
I understand. I can perfectly understand your skepticism for democracy, or for this kind of democracy that we have, but not to go to elections. You don't have to be a convinced Democrat to go to elections. Even fascists go to elections and use this instrument because it makes sense. If you don't go there, if you don't cast your ballot, you make yourself simply weaker, and that's all.
Thank you.
Okay, well, in order to for this movement to expand and extend to other parts of Europe, of course, it will face the linguistic divide. And although English can help a lot, for people communicating their views, what can also help is perhaps a common visual language and sort of a ritualization of the protest, which would create an intimate space of action, which will be understandable for everyone, regardless of the place of origin. Do you think that something like this is happening or is developing in Spain? A common visual language, across the regions of Europe.
Language, but you mean that we can use the same language, or we can use
common visual language in terms of graphic designs, in terms
symbols.
of the symbols that are used and how they are used in the course of the protest.
Thank you. Some other question? Not at the moment, so the floor is yours.
Well, I'm going to start with the last one because maybe I cannot, I didn't understand it so well. Common visual language, I don't know, book blog was created in Italy, and now we're using in Spain. Maybe in Portugal we're going to use it in this year also, but after that I cannot say nothing more. I really don't know at all. It's something that one speaker should not say in the academy, but I'm not in the academy, so I'm so sorry. But I know that something completely common is in each place are using the same websites as Twitter or Facebook, but this, I think this is one point in common. But also I think that the kind of protest that we have is something common. I think that have not so much difference between Italy, Spain, Greece. Maybe if you have something in Czech Republic, I'm sorry. But I think that is more or less the same kind of question, because I think that the problem is not a Spanish problem, at least not only a Spanish problem, it's European or global problem. When you see where the directive to privatize the education, the pension system, the labor market come from, are not coming directly from the national government, are coming directly from the Monetary Fund Bank, or are coming from the international institution or supranational institution as European Union, and the government is implementing this kind of policies depending of each country with some different, but well, the elections, go or not go to the elections. Well, this is the point. Is depending of which kind of electoral system you have. For example, I know that if you go to vote white in Portugal, the white vote is taken like some protest and nothing more. If you put one white vote in Spain, are made it more difficult the access to the small parties to start to can be something. For example, it depends. I'm not against the elections, but I mean, if for the politicians, the institutional politicians, the democracy is go to vote only for the legitimacy of the system, and they want to do what they want, I'm sorry, but if it's only the legitimate, they want to take the legitimacy of my vote, I don't going to vote, because if it's only this, no, I have to think in another way. Well, in the first 2 weeks, the movement were really developed in the main square of each city who was with the movement. But now they are thinking in that if have no so much sense, if you are always in the same square, so many people, you cannot discuss, and you are disgusting. You are losing. Sorry for the Spanish translation directly. For the disgusting, you are losing your momentum. You cannot work in always in the square. So now they are trying to go. They are not trying. They are doing to go to the village, to the quarters, and they are trying to go also to the companies, to the fabric place, for make a connection with the workers. Because anyway, as I say before, this movement is not only young people, is not only students, is people who are also workers, are pensionary people, so they try to make the point of view related with some link with the movement, but also with what they think they want. One real democracy. One real democracy is not something that you can speak and say, okay, I want real democracy, and think. The end, no. you have to work each day in the place in which you are spending the most of your time. If it's one company, is in one company. If it's in one faculty, is in one faculty. So they are trying to more or less to make, I don't know, a diffusion for each village, each quarter, each company, and then go to the maybe one general assembly or something like that. This is the way they are more or less organizing, and I think that this is the correct way, because they are linking maybe people who thought at the beginning. I can say, for example, my father that is like, okay, I'm unemployed, so the young people who is in the square, what I can have to say to them, or what they can say to me. Maybe they can say, they can talk together and have some point in common and work and help and make solidarity between them. I think that this what they are doing now, and I think that is the correct.
Thank you. So the next round of questions and comments.
My question or comment to the last part was that it reminded me the nested councils system, where people are organized, all people in some councils, and they delegate members of those councils to councils on higher level, and could be devoted back in every moment. If it's a good comparison or not, or what do you think about some well-organized form of implementation of this system into your movement or other similar movements?
So you mean go from the for example, one work commission to the top, and the top to the commission?
Delegation from lower levels to higher levels.
Yeah, it's going from the base to the high, but the high is actually all other commissions, so it's our other low level at the same time. I think that if you have one movement, the movement should be from the base level to the top. But I also think that all of you, some comments or some reflection that are not only related to me. Maybe, I don't know, open the the discussion for more people. I saw one hand. Yeah. No.
Yes. You have already spoken about it, but I would like to ask, does it exist some voice which tries to interpret your movement like generational struggle, or something like this? Or struggle between generations? Somebody takes it in this way?
You mean if you can trust some organization or something,
or for example, the generation of your parents or your grandparents, how do they feel the movement?
How they feel? They are supporting, or at least agree with the people, and it's the first time, the last encuestas. I don't know how to say.
Pools.
What? Pools.
Encuestas pools.
Pools. The most restrictive one say that the 76% of the Spanish population support the movement. And for example, this is the most restrictive. I think.
But at the same time, they are voting for People's Party.
No, the problem is that these people were waiting for a small party, and for the kind of electoral system that we have, we cannot. The small party cannot arrive to nothing. Also, the PSOE, the Social Democratic Party, lose not so many votes, and the PP take not so many votes in comparison with other time, and was also regional election so influenced by the national one that is the next year. And I think also that it's a good democratic I don't know how to say, control, because if finally the Democratic Party going to do exactly the same than the Right Party, it's normal that they lose votes, I think. And the Socialist Party lose 200,000 votes, and the Popular Party take around 500,000 votes.
Okay, thank you. So, some other questions, comments? If not, so I have a question for actually the local, let's say the Prague branch of the movement. If you can briefly describe, because some of us already participated at a couple of demonstrations on Town Square, but if you can bit elaborate on your group here in Prague and plans for the 19th June, for example, the demonstration and so on.
I want to ask you, all the people that are involved, all the different groups, I was wondering, do you discuss, I guess you're not happy with what's happening, the whole economic situation and everything, and employment, but what do they discuss, what's their aims, or what is the problem, the source of the problem? Do they talk about that? Is it the politicians? Is it the IMF? Is it the system? Do they talk about where should they see the problem, where's the source, and how to react on the problem? They crystallize the problem clearly, and what they want to do about it, the aim, whatever, like that. More clear. Who is the enemy, the adversary? Where does it all come from?
Okay, thank you. Some other question? Not the case. Okay, so the floor is yours.
You are asking more or less for concrete.
Very clear.
Very clear. For example, we have our kind of contracts in the labor market. If you want to know when you are in the labor market, finally, I don't know, you cannot understand nothing. You have one kind of contract, and then you have the other contract, and then you have another, but it's depend of each different province, and then it's different of each different region, and then it's different of the state one, and it's different because they divide in a lot of things, and you have contract in practice, but you are not worker, you are a student, and then you have other kind of scholarship that you are taking something like maybe 300 euro each month, but you are not declaring nothing to the state. You are in a mess. You never know what you are in your contract. So we propose become to something clear. To, for example, in the case of contracts, something like indefined contract and practice contract and something.
Who gains from that? Why is it? Is it the workers? They're like victims. I mean, they lose there. Why is it set like that?
Why is it like that?
Yeah, no, it's not. Why is there so much unemployment in the whole situation? There must be a reason. Somebody gains from that. Is the government, or is it the little business?
The trade, in the case of the trade unions in Spain, they are not so for the struggle, for example. They are always for the pact. They pact, but they pact with finally they pact with the government and with the patronal, with the what do you call it, patronal? Managers
heads,
or
owners.
but I mean not the manager of one bread shop, the manager of the people who, I don't know, the biggest companies. So finally they proposed something, the government say that this is more or less okay, and the trade unions say maybe you can put this less, but nothing more. So they have no legitimacy. So finally what they do is the government and the managers do what they want, and finally the trade unions, I cannot say all of the trade unions. In Spain we have quite good trade unions that are working, but are medium or really local trade unions. But Comisiones Obreras, UGT y CSI, that is the two first and the biggest one, are always for the pact with the patronal, with the managers and in this one case. And also because when you think in the Spanish transition, you learn that the transition was made in the top. You never learned nothing about what was the struggle, the class struggle during the Franco to the pseudo-democratic transition that we have. So we are not the culture to think in that we can change the things. Well, the other was how it is organized Prague. Well, this is a point because we are not so defining one real line. Somehow we can do. Some people were thinking that the Spanish people, the Spanish student, the Spanish people who is in Prague, in Czech Republic, should support the Spanish movement in Spain. This was one point. Another point was one kind of people. Another kind of people say, no, we have to support the struggle in Czech Republic. We have to diffuse our ideas, and we have to take the impulse, the input, and try to say to the Czech movement, you have to do something. What you want? You can do what you want. What you have to do something. You can change the things in your way. You don't have to copy us. You have your way to say to say the things to. I don't know. This is more or less the two points. In the really beginning, from the second day, I think, the second day that we were in a demonstration, one group of anarchists came to our assemblies and to our demonstrations. They were always only for support us. They were never saying nothing. They only say, okay, what you're going to do, only give to us and we're going to publish. We're going only to support you. We don't enter in what you are deciding. At the beginning was like that. In the last assembly, in this moment the Spanish people were majority and the Czech people was a minority, big minority, but anyway minority. Now the minority is the Spanish people, the majority is the Czech people in the supposed Spanish movement. I think I told you before, I don't like Spanish, I prefer global or at least European. So I think that it's quite good that the people in Czech Republic are taking as a relevo, as one run in which you take the stick of your comrade. Also, we are trying to do some kind of things, but the problem is that we are in the exam period, and all of the Spanish students that are here are going to come back maybe tomorrow, maybe the next week. So I don't know which kind of effect going to have one demonstration of Czech in front of the Spanish embassy without Spanish. I don't know. I think that you have to decide.
Don't do it. Because the neighbor is Israeli embassy.
I know. I know. I don't know. I don't know how to going to be. And also we have also the same kind of debate. If the main is the assembly or the demonstration, or is the commission. If we are political or we are apolitical. So we have all of this discussed, and then you more or less can understand something. And I think that the Czech social movement should take this initiative and do what they want, because at least we going to come back to our country or to another country. Are we going to speak with our friend and with our friend or with the people who are going to come to Czech Republic or go to another place, and we're going to say, okay, you are a student, okay. In the case that you are Erasmus, you're going to be 1 year only in one place, but this war is war for everybody everywhere. So you should work in the place in which you are living. You have to make some structure or something.
Hlásí se někdo ještě, nebo je někdo v pořadí? Máš jako napsanýho, nebo?
No. So some other questions or comments? No.
Before leaving for our today's meeting, I looked through all the websites of the Spanish main daily newspaper. Not a single information about the movement, which is understandable, but not a single photos, nothing. What's the current today's situation on Spanish main city squares? What is the current today's situation? Is there still the campuses? Or
the camps?
The camps, or have they left?
They are working now in a small village, in quarters, and also in some buildings. You have the typical building that is like that.
It's okay. It has changed the form already. It's
now you are starting to change, because you cannot be always fighting with the fighting, doing like that with the police. And you cannot be always in the main square of the city. So we are now in the more local, and then we are structuring now the movement. But I think I'm completely sure that during the summer going to be more or less disappear, and then going to come back in the autumn. Only the people who are more convinced of that going to be working during the summer, but definitely maybe October, November are going to be the 2 months of this year that are going to have the biggest protest.
Let's hope. Okay. Second question. The movement is called M15, but also Indignados.
Yeah.
Have you been inspired by the booklet of Stefan Hessel?
But
Could be.
For the first question, I know that in Madrid, for example, they have an assembly this week, and they decide to quit the camp. So I'm not sure, but I think next Sunday is gonna be like the last day. But of course, they are gonna work in the quarters, and so this is the idea that. The camp, or maybe some people is gonna stay in Madrid, in Puerta del Sol, or in Barcelona, or in other main squares, but of course the main work is gonna be in the quarters and with other associations.
Thank you very much for this information. Thank you very much for participation at our discussion. So, and we can carry on informally, have a beer, for example, or so if you want. So have a nice evening, and see you definitely at some next demonstration of your group here in Prague.